Every so often, American motorsport fans convince themselves that this finally is the driver who will bring the stars and stripes back to Formula One.
There is a rising star in the sport of racing.
Scott Speed tried, Alexander Rossi tried, and more recently, him, for better or worse. However, real motorsport fans back in the mid-2010s, after 40 years of their last American WDC, thought they finally had the new Andretti, a young, promising driver from Connecticut that had it all: pace, strong ambition, Santino Ferrucci. Too bad he also had the brain cells of a crash test dummy. Soon, you'll see exactly why. Born in 1998, when PlayStation discs were still king and cargo shorts were a legitimate fashion statement, Santino's childhood soundtrack wasn't cartoons or morning news. It was the shriek of car engines on cold asphalt, the routine for every young star locked in with a clear goal. On those early race days, most kids were still deciding between Cocoa Puffs or Frosties. Ferrucci was pulling on a helmet and stepping into a world where lap times were the only currency that mattered. Rapidly, what began as a blur of plastic trophies quickly grew into state championships, then national titles, and eventually international events, where his name began circulating in glossy magazine spreads. In 2011, while serving as a development driver for McLaren, Ferrucci showed up at Watkins Glen, not for F1, but hanging out with the NASCAR champion Tony Stewart, where he received some compliments for his maturity.
Should I remind you, you're 13 because you are very mature and very advanced for your age.
Thank you very much.
At 14, he stepped into the SBF 2000 Winter Series and took 3 points from 10 stars, a statement from a driver who didn't even have a single hair on his chin yet. By the way, damn son, what a look. The following season, in the full F2000 Championship, Ferrucci stacked up 4 podiums and a pole position, which was just enough to put him on Europe's radar, making him look more promising every time. And no much longer, the call arrived. In 2014, he crossed the Atlantic to make his debut in the F3 European Championship. That year, pure hell. Future F1 stars, champions in the making, ghosts, and even Jesus himself, who practically handed him a one-way ticket to his own Via Crucis. Despite all this stacked against him, he managed an incredible result of P19. Yeah, I must say, I hoped for better too. Still, given his age and the fact it was his first full season competing an ocean away from home, it was a result that earned him the benefit of the doubt, and you can't deny his efforts. Bambino didn't just stick to one battlefield. He also took on British F3, where he became the youngest ever winner in series history. In German F3, he managed a podium, and at Macau, he crossed the line in 8th place. Sure, still nothing mega, but by committing to another season in European F3 for 2015 with American Motorsport, the tide began to turn and the goal was clear. 11th in the championship, a podium at Spa, 6th at Macau, and a level of consistency that hadn't been there before. He even proved his versatility abroad, finishing 3rd overall in the Toyota Racing Series in New Zealand, going wheel to wheel with an international grid that included legends like Mr. Strulovic and the infamous Mazepin. It was clear, by the end of 2015, Bambino wasn't just an American. He was a proven multi-series race winner and podium finisher, and a driver climbing the ladder with the kind of momentum that made you think the top wasn't just possible, it was inevitable. Just like the fact that since you're enjoying this, you're gonna hit that subscribe button, right? Support me so I can keep bringing you stories like this. Next up was GP3, where things were about to get, well, let's just say, interesting. He joined Dams for their first season in this championship, a rookie and a team also finding its footing. And since the French squad had already been stacking trophies in other series, team boss Jean-Paul Drouot felt confident enough to say, "We've won in every category, we'll do it again." For a moment, it looked like everything fell into place and F1 was just a matter of time. Little did we know, he wanted to prove us wrong in the worst way possible. Just wait and see. That dream, yeah, it was already fading before it even began.
You see a really poor start as well there for Santino Ferrucci, who got a terrible getaway.
The season was all over the place, flashes of hope, like a 3rd place in Spa, buried under weekends nobody remembered. Over the course of 8 rounds, Ferrucci ended up 12th in the championship. Sure, going wheel to wheel with Charles Leclerc, Alex Albon, and Alex Palou was never gonna be easy, but still, for someone sold as the great Santino, people expected more than one podium lost in a sea of shit. And yet, something unexpected happened. That same year, Gene Haas secured his team's entry into F1, and eager to have an American presence in the garage, named Ferrucci as Haas's development driver. For a country that had gone decades without a steady face in F1, the move made perfect PR sense. However, for those paying attention to the results sheet, it was a decision that raised more than a few eyebrows. Anyway, little guy stayed with Dams for the start of the 2017 GP3 season, but after just 3 rounds, the stats were mediocre, to say the least. His reward, making a sudden leap to F2. It was a huge jump. The competition was fiercer, the cars faster, the engineers savager.
Get understeer as soon as I get close. Understeer. Stop crying in race. What can we do? Okay. I'll try.
Monza anti-stall.
Santino Ferrucci from 9th on the grid has stalled. There he is.
What's a shame for him. Look, he just said the first half a meter.
I have not much.
Perez, collision.
Oh no! Oh, contact and into the gravel. There wasn't enough room and into the tyre barrier goes Santino Ferrucci.
The rest, dog shit. The problem wasn't speed. It was the thing between the seat and the steering wheel. So, of course, the rising star effect was fading fast, and he could feel it. Others were still in the spotlight he had fought so hard to earn. Sooner or later, he was going to have to do something big. The kind of move that could either save the dream or blow it to pieces. And in true American fashion, he went all in. Let's be real, finishing 22nd in the standings is a quick way to make teams forget your name. But in racing, there's one thing even more memorable than talent. A wallet thick enough to stop a bullet. Ferrucci shoved his onto the table, and abracadabra, a 2018 full-time seat appeared, this time with Trident, sharing a garage with Arjun Maney. And no, this wasn't some paid driver teammate. The Indian had credential, British F4 runner-up behind George Russell, GP3 race winner, and a guy who didn't mind throwing elbows when it counted.
Trying to go around the outside. Maney isn't going to give up though. He knows that he's going to try and tough it out nice and early in the morning, and Maney refusing to give up the lead despite the fact. Wonderful wheel-to-wheel action for the lead here. But here comes Boccolacci again, and Maney going super defensive, but he's surely not going to be able to defend this time. No, he's still keeping his foot in. I can't believe these two are running so close. And contact between the pair of them there as Maney gets rude but not extreme, and somehow he's still got the lead with brilliant defensive driving.
In short, he could drive. Unlike Ferrucci, who for every flash of speed had an even bigger flash of stupidity. In Baku, both Trident cars scored points. Maney in P5, Ferrucci right behind in P6. A few weeks later in France, Maney's race radio lit up with one of the most exasperated messages you'll ever hear.
I swear, you guys don't support me at all. You can't do this to me, mate. I don't rate the championship anymore.
Jeez, you couldn't help but feel for that man. The strangest part, the team didn't even believe him. Then, for the first and probably only time in history, the FIA actually did their job. They stepped in and allegedly found his engine was only putting out 60% power. Once the team realized he wasn't making it up, they swapped it out. But by then, the damage was already done. Rumors were flying. Politics, favorism, Ferrucci's dad's sponsor in the team has connections, half the staff American. Others whispered it was simpler. He paid for the equipment. Whatever the truth, in a spec series like F2, even the hint that one teammate might have superior machinery is enough to keep eyebrows permanently raised. Because what came next at Silverstone 2018 wasn't just another race. It was the week our protagonist decided to reveal his true talent. After the feature race, the checkered flag had fallen, cars were slowing down, cooldown lap, everyone chilling while heading back to the pits, right? Out of nowhere, Ferrucci decided that this was the perfect moment to send his brain cells on a permanent coffee break and deliberately ram into the back of his teammate.
He's hit his teammate again. He's hit his teammate again. Someone calm down the Trident boys.
Yes, after the race was over. Maney's reaction over the radio was instant and brutal.
There's something wrong with his brain. I think he should be banned.
And the FIA seemed to agree. They fined Ferrucci 60,000 euros for the collision. But even that wasn't enough controversy for one weekend. He was caught driving his car one-handed, glove off, while texting on his phone. Man had an on-track IQ lower than his tyre pressures. That stunt earned him another 6,000 euro fine. The FIA responded with one of the harshest penalties they can hand out without going full lifetime ban, a 2-weekend suspension. 4 races gone, just like that. Trident had seen enough. They dropped him immediately, and in a move you almost never see in motorsport, Trident issued a public apology to Maney and his family. Think about that. Your own team apologizing on behalf of your teammate. That's when you know you're not coming back. Dumb that he admitted his intentions.
Yeah, I see. After the checkered flag, I got behind him initially to show him like I was pissed. You know, I wanted to put up a hand gesture. I had just thought, all right, go around. And when I went to go around, I clipped him. It's, yeah.
Stupid decisions, ridiculous consequences. Haas, who had kept him on as a development driver despite his underwhelming results, also quietly cut ties. Yep, just like that. Ferrucci wasn't about to take the loss quietly. By now, we already know that if he can make things worse, you bet he will. On social media, when Sky Sports posted Maney's Ban Him radio clip, Ferrucci replied, said the 4-year-old kid in the back of class once. Earlier in the season, Ferrucci had requested permission from the FIA to run a Trump Make America Great Again livery on his car. Unsurprisingly, the FIA denied it under Article 10.62a, which bans political advertising in international competition. The online reaction was a mix of outrage, memes, and disbelief. We've never seen someone this dumb before. I mean, do you think he did it on purpose just for laughs, or was he really that dumb? By the time the dust settled, his 2018 scorecard was a disaster. Somehow, Ferrucci managed to rebuild enough of his career to get a seat in IndyCar, which kind of makes me wonder if he achieved his dream.
Why is Santino trying to team up with you here?
Well, he's my driver coach this week here. He was here when Lewis Hamilton and I did the seat swap a couple months ago, and got to meet him here, and he's doing an awesome job. He's a development driver for McLaren.
But in F2, his legacy is one of the most chaotic, self-inflicted implosions the series has ever seen. Ban in hand, ego intact, and somehow in a race suit, Ferrucci headed to IndyCar with all his old habits in the luggage. And to be fair, it kind of started that way.
Throw me a beer. Look at that. It is. Woo!
In this post-F2 era, the Italian-American back in America actually looked like he found his lane. Podiums, solid points finishes, and flashes of a guy who could be a class above on his day. He was grinding, carrying some smaller teams to results they had no business sniffing. The dude had pace, and for a while, the chaos was low-key. No mid-race texting scandals, no in-race teammate feuds that needed a peace treaty, just racing. But this is Santino we're talking about. Of course, his true colors returned, the kind you remember just because he's a disaster.
Oh boy! Oh my goodness! Santino Ferrucci launches inverted.
Detroit 2024. Practice 1. The air's thick with tension because street circuits are always sketchy. Walls everywhere, zero room for error, and every lap has to be clutch. Kyle Kirkwood's on a flyer, trying to nail a fast lap. And then, here comes Ferrucci.
Just furious Ferrucci and calm Kirkwood.
He turns into Kirkwood mid-lap, no space given, complete nonsense. It's the kind of move that gets instant "what are you doing bro" reactions from everyone watching. Kirkwood's lap dead, frustration mega, and Santino.
Whoa!
You turned into me. You turned into me. Don't ever do that again.
He's not exactly the cool down and talk later type. The two of them square up in the pits, and Ferrucci just shoves him. Not some gentle tap, a full two-handed push like we just switched channels to a hockey match. And if it wasn't enough to be in the spotlight, here's where it escalates from heated on-track moment to full PR nightmare. Out of nowhere, Ferrucci, in the most high school comeback possible, calls Colton Herta Kirkwood's boyfriend after backing up his teammate.
So, and then his little boyfriend teammate over there did the same thing.
Not exactly a masterclass in conflict resolution. Let's go with the media storm. Some calling him a menace, others defending him as a driver who sends it and drives the old-fashioned way. Then comes the apology, or what's supposed to be one, with the same taste of the apology to Maney.
First, I just want to say sorry for what I said and how I acted to Kyle and towards Colton. They're great competitors. I stepped a little hot out of the car, and I love racing against them, man. It's good now.
At the end of the day, Santino and chaos are synonyms. That's the thing about Ferrucci's IndyCar chapter. The performances can be exceptional, but the shadow of his reputation always seems to be lurking, with that F2 chapter being the biggest impact on his career. To his supporters, if there are any, he probably is a misunderstood talent, the kind of driver who thrives in chaos and just needs the right environment to shine. To rational people, he's a reckless liability with occasional flashes of brilliance. One thing's for sure, love him or hate him, it's impossible to ignore him, and that, for better or worse, might be the only consistent thing about Santino Ferrucci. However, if you thought this is as bad as a driver could be, nah, let me prove you wrong with this video you'll 100% like. And as always, thank you for watching.